80% of my decision-making process. Who is the highest and most reviews? Secondary to that, then I look at price. Isn't that fascinating? Because initially, I don't sort by who's got the lowest price, because if they've got a low price, but they got a 1 out of 5 stars, like, it's not even worth it. They're not even a contender. I'm not gambling on this purchase here. Like, I want to make sure someone's like, they're steady, they're proven, they can have some sort of a reputation already established before I'll even consider buying them. And then it's secondary of like, okay, is one of them grossly outpriced of the other? And honestly, sometimes that just means I assume there's more value there. So then I might dig in and compare two of them, right? The one that's grossly outpriced and maybe has disproportionate amount of reviews, and one that's still in the ballpark there. But so that's how more than half of what I buy online, that's how the process goes. Who is the highest and most reviews? And then secondary is price is the majority of the decision-making process for me.
So how should somebody apply that into their business today, right? Like, how do they get more evergreen reviews? How do they hack that system, if you will?
Yeah, I guess we've covered the why. If you're here, you're like, great, Matt, that sounds good. I understand what I need to do. How do I do it? Classically, I would say, well, you just have to get more customers, and then you have to just do a great job, and then probably remember to ask them. So that's the first blind spot is usually that you don't ask your customers. You assume that they'll take this action, but you shouldn't assume, right? Like, most of us who have spouses, we didn't accidentally become committed to each other. Like, there was an ask, there was a conversation, there was a discussion, because as great as we are as humans, we can't read minds yet. And so you do have to make that ask. So as a business, I would say, if this is that important, that this is probably one of the most critical things that you could do for your business, is establish a reputation, gather these evergreen endorsements so that you can have evergreen referrals. You should automate this process. You should automate the ask. You can identify a point where when the purchase happens, you ask for it. Great businesses on Amazon, the ones that have tons of reviews, they ask. They automate the ask. After the purchase happens, there's something saying, hey, please leave us a review. Would you leave us a review? They even will put it in their product. Like, as you're opening the box, it says, hey, isn't this awesome? Isn't this great? Would you mind leaving us a review, right? And so find a way to automate the ask. That's definitely a blind spot for a lot of businesses. But if you want the ninja hack here, it is realizing that you don't have to wait for someone to become a customer to get an endorsement. So if you search around, let's go Google for review space, you will find there's two types of endorsements that Google absolutely allows. One is competency, right? This is what we typically assume. Like, are they actually good? You look at a restaurant and the review says their food is great. Awesome. That is a competency review. It means I bought food from them. I tasted their primary goods or service, and I can tell you it is good. They deliver on it. The second type of review, which is less obvious, but as soon as I say this, you'll then realize, oh my gosh, it's totally right, is a character review. This is the review that says, 1 star, the waitress was rude, right? That has nothing to do with the food, which is the core component of a restaurant. You might say, well, they're in the service industry. How many times have you seen the review where it says, 2 stars, I called, they were rude to me on the phone, so I decided not to do business with them. You're like, you don't even know if they're good at accounting, or you don't know if they're a good gym, or you don't know if they're a good chiropractor. All you know is that the front desk receptionist was maybe having a bad day. And not even that, I've seen it where it's like, I tried to call them, they didn't get back to me, 1 star. And you're like, you have no idea. Like, so they were so busy they couldn't get back to folks, so they deserve a 1 star. But this is the free market we live in. Now, the cool part about that is you can shortcut that buyer journey. Remember, we said we're going to go stranger to prospect, prospect to customer, customer to promoter. What if instead of making a 4-point journey where you're like, Matt, to get more reviews, I have to just get more customers, if you just started asking your prospects to leave you a review? What if you started automating that request earlier in the customer journey? And I would argue earlier in the customer journey, there is a higher degree of disparity between what they've paid and what they've received. Right? This is like the arbitrage. At Prospect right now, if you subscribe to my channel, if you've got any value out of this right now, chances are you've paid me nothing. Right? And I'll tell you, if you go to Pepperdine and you sign up for a marketing class, and I think they charge, I don't know what it is per credit. Let's say and it's crazy I think about this, but students paid maybe $4,000 to attend my class. And so I do not collect that, right? So you're like, yeah, I got 30 students in here. It's like, Matt, this is a great gig. You're making $120K or whatever it is. That's not how it works. But think about it. They paid $4,000 and it'd be the same advice that I'm giving you right now. So right now, if this any sort of aha, just to like, kind of be meta about this, you've experienced a ton of value and you've paid nothing. And so if I asked you, hey, if you wouldn't mind, if you got any value even from this conversation, if you wouldn't mind actually reviewing, I mean, I've done this a handful of times in my life. It's not that hard, but no matter where you listen, whether it's Spotify or Apple or whatever platform you're on, you can actually click and review, and it takes about less than 10 seconds to hit the 5 stars or 4 stars. Like, I'll take it as honest feedback. If you were saying, Matt, this is only 3-star worthy, I actually would appreciate any feedback over no feedback. But if you would take those 10 seconds, that would mean the world. That would motivate me and continue to keep producing this kind of value. Now, right, I told you this is going to be meta. Think about that. Right now, if you felt even a little bit compelled, even if you didn't do it, that is what we're talking about that's at play right now.